right, it has finally arrived. It is opening day, baseball season. Unfortunately, no 1 o'clock game. Kind of weird. First pitch is at 3 o'clock, but we are getting you locked and loaded and ready for opening day. We're going to be talking about some Major League Baseball futures. Buster Olney is going to join us. You see him all over ESPN. And of course, the wonderful and fabulous Darryl Strawberry is going to join us because we've got to talk about OMG, baby. We got to talk about the Mets. Big expectations for them, of course, heading into the season with a win total over under 90.5. So we're going to talk to Darryl. We'll talk to Buster. Again, you're listening to On the Mark with Anita Marks. That is me, brought to you by 500 Level. I'm wearing my OMG Mets shirt for opening day. I'm all about the Mets. I'm all about Juan Soto. You could also get, how about this, a Juan Soto t-shirt for all you Mets fans, for all you Yankee fans. I know you're hoping Dominguez wins the AL Rookie of the Year. You could get him as well at 500 Level. And then you've got Bellinger, which no Juan Soto, but I'm sure Yankee fans are hoping that Bellinger could help this Mets team out, especially in the lineup. And of course, you've got arguably one of the best young pitchers in Major League Baseball. They've got them all. Go ahead to 500 Level and check them out. Why? 500 Level immortalizes the legends of the game with iconic original graphic tees. 500 Levels custom t-shirts typically print next business day and ship directly to your home. So sign up for fan points and begin earning on every purchase. It's not just Major League Baseball. It's MLS, NBA, NHL, as well as the NFL. And of course, the Giants, as we know, have their new quarterback, Russell Wilson, in-house. Head over to 500 Level to get your Russell Wilson t-shirt. They even have UFC as well as WWE. Shop 500level.com now. Make sure you use my code, which is Marks20 for 20% off. And make sure you live like a legend. 500 Level. All right, I'll tell you who lives like a legend, and that is the wonderful and fabulous Buster Olney, who joins us on the program. You see him all over ESPN. He has his own podcast as well called Baseball Tonight. Buster, always great talking baseball with you, my friend.
Anita, great to see you.
Listen, it's here, right? 3 o'clock is which, by the way, usually like we get like a earlier, like why is first pitch so late? It's like 3 o'clock. We don't have a 1 o'clock first pitch game on opening day. What's up?
I know, and they should, and I've always thought it was sad when they moved away from the traditional openers, which, as you remember, they used to play it in Cincinnati and they used to have it in Baltimore. I wish they would still do that, but they got away from that. Either way, we're getting started, which is the most important thing.
It is. All right, so let's you and I get started. We've got to start with the Yankees, right? Or I'm sure I'm wearing my OMG 500 Level Mets shirt. I'm sure Mets fans are like, what do you mean? We got to start with the Mets. No, let's start with the Yankees. World Series letdown, as we know. Juan Soto leaves to go to Queens from the Bronx. Stanton is dealing with a tennis elbow. Injuries to the starting rotation. Who knows what the hell's going to happen at third base? Yankees win total 88.5. I'm fading them, Buster. I think this is, Garrett Cole on the show for the season. I buried the lead. I think this is just too much to start the season. I'm not feeling the Yankees this season. Are you?
I'm with you. And it's interesting because after they failed to sign Soto, I actually think they did a really good job of responding to that. You sign Max Fried, you trade for Cody Bellinger, you trade for Devin Williams, who's the best closer in baseball. And so going into spring training, you're thinking, okay, they're actually poised to be in a good place. But, man, they had the worst spring training among the 30 teams. There's no question about it. You mentioned the Garrett Cole injury. And then there's Luis Gil, who's out, indefinitely until sometime in the middle of the year. And who knows what he's going to be when he comes back. And now Clark Schmidt had this physical issue at the end. They think he's going to be back. But it's been a disastrous spring training for them. And the American League East, to me, is wide open. You can make a reasonable case for all 5 teams. So I'm with you. Like 88.5 feels just a tad high given everything they've been dealing with.
Yeah, so you and I are both on the under there. Let's now talk about the Mets. They win the Juan Soto sweepstakes, right? Cost them a pretty penny. 15 years, $765 million, could exceed $800 million. What do you feel Juan Soto does and brings to this franchise, Buster?
Well, he's the best pure hitter in baseball. And to add that guy to any lineup is going to make them significantly better. But with Soto, batting behind Lindor, batting in front of Pete Alonso, when they get Francisco Alvarez back from the injured list, this will be as deep a lineup as any in baseball. And, they're going to be an offensive juggernaut, and they need to be, because the rotation obviously is the biggest question about this team. And look, at this point, we have to understand that David Stearns, head of baseball operations, is excellent at identifying pitchers. And Jeremy Hefner, their pitching coach, is excellent. He survived like 4 different managers and 5 different GMs, and there's a reason for that. But they do have major questions in the rotation as they start the year. Who would have guessed 7-8 months ago that Clay Holmes would be the Mets opening day starter and be, the most important guy in their rotation as he makes a transition from being a short reliever?
Nimmo came out and said, "Listen, we're not," and quote unquote, "we're not trying. We're not going to try to be the stepbrother to the Yankees. We're not going to be the second team in New York anymore. We want to be New York's team." Do you feel that they can do it? Their win total, by the way, because the odds makers feel that they can, 90.5 wins. 90.5 wins over under for the Mets.
There's a big difference between where the Mets stand and where the Yankees stand, and that is divisional context. The Mets are playing in a division with 2 of the 3 best teams in baseball, with the Atlanta Braves, who I think people are absolutely sleeping on. They made the playoffs last year, but that was basically without Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr., and those guys are healthy now. I saw Strider pitch last week. He looks like he's going to be a factor very early in the season. And the Phillies, who we talked about as being the best team in baseball for most of 2024, they've got basically the same group back. I think that's going to make it tougher for the Mets to be viewed as the dominant force in New York until they actually win the division.
By the way, mark your calendar. I'm sure you will be there. And that is the Mets and the Yankees scheduled to play a 3-game series in the Bronx on May 16th. And that is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Especially
we got them on Sunday Night Baseball. You're 100% right.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Let's talk about some of the futures bets out there, because that's what people want to dabble in today. Of course, before first pitch coming your way at 3:00. So let's start off with the bang, and that is the World Series. Dodgers are favored at plus 275. Again, you're at the Dodgers-Tigers game.
Yeah.
I know you got your finger on the pulse of this team better than most. Yankees at plus 850. Mets at 12-1. You mentioned the Atlanta Braves. I like them. I think that there's some really good odds. It's plus 750. The Phillies are 12-1. I also like the Boston Red Sox at 20-1. So with that being said, who do you have winning this whole damn thing at the end of the season?
So I feel like I created the Red Sox bandwagon, okay? I'm on record.
Okay.
December 9th, 2024, on our podcast, I picked them to win the East, and as time has gone on, and we've seen erosion with teams like the Yankees and the Orioles with their rotation, the Red Sox keep emerging. No one is pretending that the Red Sox are as good as the Dodgers, but they may be the best team in what is, generally speaking, a very mediocre American League. They could have a puncher's chance to beat, the Dodgers in the World Series. Look, I think there's a reasonable case for the Braves. There's a reasonable case for the Phillies in a short series to beat the Dodgers. I think that you have to be creative to not believe in your heart that the Dodgers are easily the favorite to win the World Series. They won it last year. They made all these moves. We talk so much about, what they've done with their starting pitching, adding Blake Snell. And of course they bring back Teoscar Hernandez. They have Michael Conforto. But my God, I think this is the best bullpen Dave Roberts has ever had. Bringing Tanner Scott back, Kirby Yates. This is a dominant group, and it's the best all-around team I've seen since those late '90s Yankees teams.
Yeah, and again at 20-1, Buster, 20-1 right now. I use this phrase on ESPN Bet, and it's called "Run, Don't Walk." Get to the window. Let's talk about some of the other teams that not sure if they're going to win a World Series, but I do like the over in their win totals. And I do like the Rangers. That's at 85.5. I do like the Rays. That is at 79.5, even though they're playing in a minor league park. Might benefit them, right, in their bats. And last but not least, I like the Reds as well. My producer Tony's been talking about the Reds for a week now. I said, okay, let me look into this team. And sure enough, I'm with him. I do like it. It's 78.5. Terry Francona back in action as well. You got to love that. I like the over in all three of these teams. What say you?
I completely agree with you. I picked the Rangers to win the American League West. I have the Reds to win the National League Central. And I remember, we were getting ready for a broadcast in early March. We were meeting with Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, and unsolicited looked at us and said, everybody is sleeping on the Rays. Like, people are not paying attention to how good they are. Now, the injury to Shane McClanahan last week, and I was there in the ballpark when he threw the pitch and immediately grabs his left arm. That is a huge concern, and it's a big loss, however much time he winds up being out. But the best of those three teams you mentioned, to me, the Cincinnati Reds. Think about this. This is a team that last year won 77 games, despite the fact that they had easily the worst record in baseball in one-run games. Even if they didn't make any other changes, they would be expected to improve on a 15-29 record in one-run games that they had last year. If they just went 500 in those games, right, they would be at about 84, 85 wins. Well, then on top of that, you add Terry Francona. You have Ellie De La Cruz maturing. You add Brady Singer to the rotation, Gavin Lux. I was shocked when I saw the Reds over-under. I think it should be significantly higher.
Listen, I'm with you, and also their farm system is quite good, right? Like they've got some names there that very well could be, called up to the bigs at some point in time, and even make their team even better. Okay, I'm feeling really good about myself now heading into opening day. Let's talk Cy Young. And here's another thing. Like, I'm not someone, I don't always like betting on the favorites, right? And not that, Logan Gilbert, 16-1. I guess you would call it a long shot for the American League. 9-2 record, but man, struck out 220 batters last season. So in the AL, I'm looking at Logan Gilbert. In the NL, I'm looking at Zach Wheeler. Again, he is favored, but 7-1. I still think that there's some value there. Corbin Burns, even though no longer, of course, in Baltimore, in Arizona, more of a hitter-friendly ballpark. Will that affect him? Jacob deGrom, how does he rebound? 11-1 to win it in the AL. Who are you looking in the AL and the NL to win the Cy Young, Buster?
So my two picks that I had in the leagues, I have Garrett Crochet of the Red Sox, who just looks like an absolute beast.
Yes, he is.
All those restrictions on innings are off him. I think he could win it. But look, Tarek Skubal probably would be the most likely guy to win it. I mean, he just gathers momentum. I saw him pitch down in Florida the other day. He throws with so much confidence. His fastball velocity against the Orioles the other day was 100, 101 miles an hour. The dominant changeup. So I think, those guys are, for me, the best two picks in the American League. In the National League, Paul Skeens, because of his pure dominance, is going to get a ton of play. Blake Snell, I feel like people are sleeping on him. I wound up picking him. When you look at his overall numbers last year, they were mediocre. But you know this. He didn't sign with the Giants until late in spring training. He got off to a terrible start when he actually came back. And when he finally got on a roll in midseason, there was nobody better, right? And then this year, he gets a full spring training with the best team in baseball. I think Blake Snell is going to win it in the National League. But Zach Wheeler's a great pick, too. We did a top 10 list of the best pitchers in baseball. He was my number one because he's the guy, probably the plow horse in the group who you consistently can say is going to throw 6 or 7, 8 innings every single start. Very respected among his peers.
All right, Buster, let's talk home runs. Aaron Judge, right? Let's all stand out there at Yankee Stadium. He is favored at plus 350. Ohtani plus 650. I'm on Vlad at 35-1. This is a contract year. We both know how well players play when it is a contract year. 30 home runs in 2024, and the Rays playing at home, of course, in a minor league park, and obviously he's going to face the Rays quite frequently. And the Orioles, most folks, maybe you're not aware of this, but, they moved their left field wall closer. So, I think he's going to be playing in ballparks that are more hitter-friendly. I like Vlad at 35-1. What say you?
So, just a little quick update. In the last hour, I found out that, in fact, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. there might be an agreement with his contract in the next 24 hours. So that, he's going to be motivated either way. Either he's going to get a massive contract before the season starts, or, as you said, he's going to be headed for free agency and he's going to have every reason to want to succeed. He was so good last year after a slow start, and that's part of the reason why the Blue Jays are willing to pay him. I think, in that conversation for who's the best pure hitter in baseball, he's in the top 5. But he's also someone, unlike Judge, it feels like everything Judge hits, it's in the air and it's going. He's just that much stronger. I remember a conversation with Joey Votto, the longtime first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, after Judge won a home run derby. And Joey the next day looked at me and goes, people don't understand how absurd he is in what he does. So I think even with Soto out of the lineup, I think Judge is going to wind up being somewhere in the 54-55 range in home runs because he's that good.
Alex Bregman, over under 19.5 home runs. I love the over here. It's at -122. Now in Boston, a hitter-friendly ballpark. He's dominated Fenway. These are really impressive numbers. Since 2017, he bats .357. He's got a .357 batting average at Fenway, 7 home runs in 21 games. This might be one of my favorite prop bets, futures bets, heading into the season.
I think it's a great bet. It's interesting. I actually, my son and I, we drafted he's 20 years old, he's in college, and we draft a baseball team together. We just did that yesterday, and I just rammed Bregman down his throat. I said, we got to take him because he's super motivated. His contract is probably just a 1-year deal before he opts out. As you cited the numbers in Fenway that I cited to him yesterday, how much he loves playing there. And I talked to Alex for about an hour down at Fort Myers this spring. He is fired up, and he's going to be surrounded, I think, by a good lineup that'll force opposing pitchers to work to him. I think he's going to have a tremendous year for the Red Sox. He's in the MVP conversation for me.
All right, let's talk Rookie of the Year. Yankee fans, they're hoping it's Dominguez. He's 6-1. I like Jackson Jobe, right? Major role to play, of course, with the Tigers. Again, you're going to be at that Tigers-Dodgers game. There's something about this young man I really, really like, and he's at 8-1. In the National League, Matt Shaw at 4-1. Who do you like in the AL and the NL to win Rookie of the Year this year, Buster?
So I feel like we're working from the same notes because I got Jackson Jobe. When I turn in my picks for ESPN.com, I have Jackson Jobe winning the American League Rookie of the Year. I love the quote from him midway through spring training this year where a reporter asked about what he's working on, and he said, and I'm going to paraphrase here, he basically said, all this dotting the strike zone thing, forget it. I just want to blow hitters away. Like, he's got that young, incredible fastball. He's got that mentality. I'm just going to come at hitters. It reminds you of Justin Verlander early in his career. I think he's going to have a significant impact. The Tigers are going to be relevant in the playoff race, so that is an excellent pick. I actually went with Dylan Cruz of the Washington Nationals because he's a second overall pick from 2023. He's going to have an opportunity to play every day. They brought him up at the end of last year, so there's not going to be any of this service time crap that keeps him. He's going to get 600 plate appearances, and he's going to hit 20 home runs and steal 30 bases. He's a really good overall player. With rookies, we saw this with Skeens last year. If they hadn't done the service time manipulation, he probably wins the Cy Young Award. But because they delayed his promotion and wound up costing him the Cy, Dylan Cruz, that's not going to be a factor. He's going to be in the big leagues from the beginning.
All right, I've got 2 opening day bets that I'm going to make before, and we'll end the segment. I'll tee those up for you. But before we do, what do you feel is the biggest storyline, Buster, heading into this season?
No question.
What's the number one storyline for you?
Can anybody beat the Dodgers, right? We have not had an evil empire since those late 90s Yankees teams. And that's the last team that won back-to-back championships. And the Dodgers win the World Series, and then they went out and make all those additions. And so now the question is, can anybody beat them? And it'll be fascinating. And I think that, the Dodgers are well-suited with guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei, experienced. They're going to handle everything that people throw at them. but it's going to be the question that's going to hang over this team all year. And how many games will they win during the regular season? Will it be more than the Seattle Mariners, which the record of 116 in 2001? Could it be 115? Is it going to be 105? That'll be a fun thing to track during the year.
All right. Opening day, I've got two plays that I like. One is I'll take Toronto on the money line against Baltimore. Baltimore without its best offensive player, as we know, in Henderson. Losing, of course, Santander, who, as we know, no longer there. 44 home runs last season. And you know how I love Vlad. And I think this Jays lineup, I think it's going to be pretty much a real big sleeper for folks. I think the Blue Jays are going to be a lot better than what most people think. I think they come out with a win. I like Toronto on the money line against Baltimore. Thoughts?
He also is someone who responds to the big stage. If he does, this contract negotiation is finished in the next 24 hours. Imagine, the response to him at the ballpark tomorrow as they get going. I think he absolutely responds to that. I remember him in the home run derbies when he's participated in that. He just is one of those guys who just seems to raise his game under those circumstances.
And pick number two, a later first pitch. That's 10 o'clock Eastern time. Seattle money line over Oakland. Severino gets the call for Oakland. Here's my thing. As we know, the Mets, endless amounts of money. Why'd they let him go? Big red flag for me. Meanwhile, Seattle running back, right? Running it back with the same batting lineup in the rotation. They're sending out their ace pitcher on opening day. Love Logan Gilbert, like I said. Might even throw some coin on him winning the Cy Young. Love Seattle on the money line against Oakland.
Logan Gilbert was the guy I rammed down my son's throat for our fantasy team.
I love it. I love it.
I'm right there with you in terms of being super high on him. One thing to watch for, Julio Rodriguez got off to an incredibly slow start last year, as he has a couple times now. And, Edgar Martinez came in to be hitting coach. They seemed to have really connected. They gave him more bats in spring training to get him rolling. He had a good spring training, better than he has in the past. So that supports everything you're saying about the Mariners getting off to a good start tomorrow.
You're going to be at the Tigers-Dodgers game. Who do you think wins that?
Man, I'm just so impressed with Tarek Skubal, and it would be absolutely fitting. He's going to take this as a great challenge. Everyone looking at the Dodgers is unbeatable. I like him on opening day. I think he's just one of those guys. Again, I was talking about Vladdy raising his game. Tarek does that too. And he is, it's a great matchup for us because we get Tarek Skubal and Blake Snell, who are right now the two best left-handed pitchers in baseball.
Love it. Buster, you rock.
Thanks, Anita. It was fun.
All right, I want to thank Buster Olney for joining us on the program. Again, getting you ready for Major League Baseball opening day, which is today. Quick break. We come back. Darryl Strawberry is going to join us on the program. Stay tuned. 500 level immortalizes the legends of the game with iconic original graphic tees. 500 levels custom t-shirts typically print next business day and ship directly to your home. How great's that? Sign up for fan points and begin earning on every purchase. Major League Baseball, MLS, NBA, NHL, NFL. Also, they have UFC and WWE. With Major League Baseball opening day happening, you want your Major League Baseball t-shirts. Go get them at 500 level. Also, Russell Wilson, your new starting quarterback for the Giants. Don't forget Justin Fields, the new quarterback for the Jets. Head over to 500 level. Use my code MARKS20, MARKS20 for 20% off. 500 level. Live like a legend. All right, welcome to the show, the one and only Darryl Strawberry. It is Major League Baseball opening day. Big expectations for the Mets. So none other than Darryl to join us on the program. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Anita. Thanks for having me. You always reach out to me when baseball season get ready to kick off. So here we go again. Another year,
Yeah, I'd reach out to you
2025.
during golf season, but I know that you would kick my butt on the golf course because I haven't picked up a club in a while. I'm too addicted to pickleball. So I want to spare the embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that too. I haven't been on the golf course in a while, so I've been, not on the baseball diamond in a while either. So it's just good to be, it's just good to be here to have a sit down talk and interview.
Oh, that's so great. All right, well, let's dive into it because it is the Mets, and they won the Juan Soto sweepstakes, did they not? 15 years. First things first, like, can you just $765 million, Darryl? Like, it's just so much freaking money. Did you ever think when you played that a player would ever make that much money in Major League Baseball?
No, sometimes you think was is a trick or treat. Here's a treat for you. This time of the year, you become a free agent and you become a guy like Juan Soto. Who is a phenomenal young player, and he's proven himself. And I think the most important thing that most people don't realize about him is he play every day. He plays 150 games a year, and I think that credits to him is being healthy and being a good player that can perform for a team and help a team win. And a lot of people don't recognize that, and they don't understand. You have to respect that when you see a guy get a big contract like that. After all the years he's put in, and he's out there every day, running out there every day. It's hard to run out there every day and not get hurt. A lot of players get hurt. He hasn't been one of those players that's had a lot of injuries, and he's been able to sustain from that, and it's kept him in a position to be in that place where when he became a free agent to get that kind of contract.
Well, again, it's a lot of money, and for good reason. Him joining the Mets. Now there's some hefty expectations for this Mets team. Over under 90 and a half wins heading into this season. They do play in a very competitive National League East division. I think few people sleeping on Atlanta. Phillies are there. But just talk about what you feel Juan Soto brings to the equation that puts the Mets over the top, Darryl.
Well, he brings that elite player. Like I said before, a guy that can stand there and perform and, maybe hit you 40 home runs, driving 107 ribbies, just like Aaron Judge is to the Yankees. He's that player. Otani to the Dodgers. He's that kind of player, that has that buzz when he comes to the ballpark and people want to watch this kind of guy play. So I don't think it's a lot of expectations from himself. I mean, he's a ball player. He knows how to do that. I think it's from everybody else in opinions and thoughts. When you've done this your whole life, it's not a big deal to you. You know how to run out there and do it. You just got to stay healthy and strong. Be prepared for the season the competition that's going to be there. I know he's going to be up for that because he's always has been, and that's a good makeup for who he is.
Let's talk about the expectations, and I'm curious what your expectations are for this Mets team heading into the season, right? The lineup with Lindor, Juan Soto apparently going to be in the 2-hole, followed by Pete Alonso, 1, 2, 3, really phenomenal top of the lineup. And then you're looking at the rotation. Clay Holmes making his move from the bullpen, becoming a starting pitcher, is going to be the opening day starting pitcher for the Mets. With Singa as well as McGill and Peterson, Edwin Diaz as their closer. What are your realistic expectations for this Mets team heading into this season?
Well, I think they have all the pieces in place right now, and you just have to do it on the field. You have to 162 ball games. You have to try to keep everybody healthy throughout the course of the season, and keep your mentality tough because you're going to have some roller coaster rides. Baseball season is a roller coaster ride. There's some ups and downs and in betweens. And if you can maintain those, and I think they do have the ability to be able to do that, they have put together a team that they can run out there consistently and play every day. Because I don't think anyone is sleeping on the Braves. I don't think anyone is sleeping on the Phillies and the Dodgers. Those teams are going to be teams that's going to always be there. That's going to be your competition, and you're going to have to be able to battle against those type of teams. So I think for the Mets, just know who you are, figure out your identity of who you are and what kind of team you are, and play the way you play. I think don't look at the scoreboard, don't look at other teams, look at your in-house and what you're all about. I think that's what it was for us, like in '86 when we came that year. We just knew who we were, and I think that's the most important thing when you play in New York. You got to know who you are because the expectations are so big, and the fans are there and the media is there, and you got to deal with it all.
I want your thoughts on this. Nimbo came out earlier this week, and this is a quote, okay? we're not going to try to be the stepbrother to the Yankees. We're not going to be the second team in New York anymore. We want to be New York's team. We want to command respect for the Mets name. And I think the total buy-in from the ownership group has been the biggest difference I've seen. Is this the year, Darryl, that the Mets surpass the Yankees as New York's team? Will it ever happen?
Well, I don't know. That's hard to say because the Yankee franchise has done so much, and they've had so many great teams and great players. The Mets are a franchise that's looking to make a move. This is the year to prove yourself. Don't actually get into a place of talking about it through the sports media because they will blow that out of proportion, and you will have to live with that every day throughout the course of the season. So, and of course, Yankee fans are going to remind you that they have a lot of championships over there, compared to what you have over in Queens. So, just be ready to play every day. Be ready to focus on what's important as your team. Don't try to compare yourself with the Yankees in New York City. Just be the Mets. I think that's what happened in the years we came along. We were just the Mets. And, we took over the city because we were the Mets. We were good and we were in the race every year. Just keep yourself in the race every year and you have a chance and opportunity to win. And I think people will appreciate that more.
Darryl, last one for you before we let you go, and that is Pete Alonso enters this season just 26 home runs shy of your record with the Mets, right? And so 30 plus home runs he has hit in all of one season so far. So there is a possibility that he surpasses your record this season. How does that make you feel heading into this year? And if he does reach it to the point where it's going to be that one game where he potentially can, are you going to be in attendance?
I don't know if I will be in attendance for that, but I hope we do. He's a fine young player who came through the organization, homegrown player like me. My record been sitting there for 35 years, 252 home runs. So it's bound to be broken one day. And, if Pete is the guy, more power to him for it, because that means you have to be out there playing every day like he has been and being consistent to be able to be that type of power hitter and be successful in New York. And he's done it under the pressure of playing in New York. It's not an easy place to play when the expectations are there. And for him to just go out there and this season and relax, not about a record, you're going to break it, eventually just go out there and help the team as much as you can and be the player that you can so this team could be successful throughout the course of the season. And when you have a team that has a chance to be successful during the course of the season, you're going to have your kind of years. You're going to put up big numbers. That won't be a problem. And I just remember my days of playing. We had great teams and I was able to put up big numbers. So if Pete come along, I don't know if I'll be there of that day, but I will send him a congratulations, just like I did David Wright when he broke my RBI record. That was there for a very long time. So I'm thankful that, that I've had a record for 35 years and every record is meant to be broken. It's not meant for you to have it forever. There will be some, but most of the time when people play sports, those records are going to be broken.
Darryl, you rock as always. So great having you on. Each and every time I reach out to you, you oblige. I really appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy Major League Baseball opening day.
All right. Thank you so much, Anita. Appreciate you too.
All right, what a great show. Buster Olney, Darryl Strawberry. It is opening day as well as the Sweet 16. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe, follow, watch all the things, whether it's podcast, YouTube, X, Instagram. Check it out. You can see here is where you can find us. I have plays coming your way later this afternoon for Sweet 16. Also, we'll be putting up plays not only today, but Friday, also through the weekend for the Elite Eight. So we are going to get you ready. Hopefully help you win some money in the next few days. So again, hey, want to thank you so much for tuning in to On the Mark with Anita Marks. Again, brought to you by 500 Level. Enjoy opening day. Let's have some fun. Hopefully let's win some money, Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And enjoy all our content. Again, really do appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much.